Bowden from Purcellville, Virginia. And rounding out the field, it's number 73 of George Kovach from Fairfax, Virginia.
All right, so we've got our STL, STU, and Touring 3 racers coming down the roller coaster now behind the pace car. Jordy Fuhrman pacing our SSM racers about 80-90 car lengths behind. They should be coming up to the top of the roller coaster just about now. But the pace car now on the pit lane, turning the field over to Chuck Hines, Mark Bradley. They're at the front row. Hines in STL, Bradley in STU. So not racing in class, but Ryan Heichman, Jeremy Butts, 2 STL machines right behind them as the starter looks over the field, likes what they see, and green flag is in the air. And we are racing once again here at VIR, the final race of the weekend here at the SARRC MARRS Challenge as they head down to turn 1.
Tell you what, no Ryan Heichman in this battle here right now. He did not make the call to the green, but I tell you what, Greg, it is going to be Chuck Hines and Mark Bradley. They are going to go still side by side as Jeremy Butts is going to slide into that 3rd position. Then David Blaine. They still have not decided who wants to lead this race between one of them. And we've got one car that's going to go straight off out of turn number 3. Didn't even make the turn for NASCAR Ben there.
All right, well, we'll catch up and get the car number on that bus in just a moment here as Jordy Fuhrman brings the SSM racers to the green, and green flag is in the air, very early green for the SSM racers, and they are now underway and getting a great jump from the outside of SSM, the red number 98 car of Arif Kazem. We'll see if he can hold that as they head down into turn 1.
I'll tell you what, Christopher Kelly gave a really good shove there to Jordy Fuhrman. He got a really good start down the front straightaway. Arif Kazem going to move back into 4th. We got a car slightly going off there, drops the wheel in the dirt, but we'll keep it going. But again, Christopher Kelly and Jordy Fuhrman were definitely, we saw a really good battle between them yesterday, basically until the final moments where Christopher Kelly went off at the final turn. We got another car going off here, basically in no man's land. That's the 57 of Chuck Hines, our winner yesterday in STL.
Yeah,
We've got another car going spinning off down there, up in there. I'm wondering if something's on the racetrack there, gentlemen, because that was back-to-back cars.
Yeah, well, Hines went off up the top over at South Bend and made it to the center of the track. He was just rejoining. Remember, you can see his tire track leading all the way, but obviously there, another driver having issues coming through turn 11 in the lead up to the point where our SSM racers are going to be coming to them here momentarily. Now, you notice there's one other car that had some challenges over at turn. That was the car that you said, Brian, had issues over at turn 3.
Yeah, didn't make that turn. That's the 02. That's Vance James in that orange and white car. And here comes that SSM battle, Greg, as you were talking about. They're going to run up onto the back end of Vance James at some point. He may be able to stay away and pull a little bit in front, but I'll tell you what, it is Christopher Kelly along with Jordy Fuhrman starting to pull away a little bit. Arif Kazem trying to get out there as well. I do believe that is going to be Jay Bindram in that blue 88 as well. So
say they're going to go side by side. Arif Kazem going to move back in that 3rd spot over Jay Bindram. Behind them, Zach Augustine had a really good run. Went from 13th to 6th in the SSM class yesterday. He's had some really good starts. First time seeing VIR, I believe, ever here in person before Zach Augustine made his debut about a month ago at the March MARRS event. Had really good runs, top 10 both days.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one of the things that'll make you laugh, keep an eye on that Bob Cahall 178 machine, gentlemen, because I think once he's done, he may just take that Mazda Miata, Greg, and just drive it straight to the airport, because he's got a 5:30 flight. Get back into Chicago. He may just drive this thing straight
to the airport, right out to Raleigh-Durham.
Tell Big John, pick it up at the airport. I'm dropping it off at the rental agency.
All right, so we're hearing word now from the corner station where we had, I believe it was the number 3 that went off on the outside of turn 11, Brian, or turn 10, Brian, and they're saying that it might have been affected a bit by Chuck Hines rejoining and having the green number 57 come out right in front. So again, that's not for us to decide. Obviously, our cameras are a little bit too far away to pick that up. We'll let the steward and crew figure that one out.
Christopher Kelly going off there a little bit too wide. Going there, so he's going to drop back a little bit from Jordy Fuhrman, and then you've got Arif Kazem there. Then you got Jay Bindram. He's going to lead the rest of the cars there. I believe that is the 30 is that going to be Zach Augustine in the 12? Then Parker Modem in that 72 car is going to move right up on the back bumper of that 12 machine. Here it is. We're on board with Parker Modem right now. Again, he is kind of first time here at VIR, almost at Summit Point, first time at VIR. We saw him during qualifying on board. He was trying to get those cars lined up to try to get that faster time, but definitely out there giving it everything he's got in that RP Performance number 72.
And Brian, notice that he isn't ripping the gear lever from gear to gear like he did this morning in qualifying when he took the car off track here. So we'll check back in with Parker here maybe in just a little bit. I'm gonna jump over back to STL here.
Should be getting ready to come up the hill. There, this is our SSM battle here, the last of it. Coming down the hill, there are STL battles. Probably going to be up in turn number 3 or turn number 4 now.
Yeah,
getting ready to go up in there.
Yeah, indeed. Well, so let's stay with SSM here, as Jordy Fuhrman and Chris Kelly are starting to come up on some of the drivers that had issues on the opening lap. And, you know, David, as we look at this, we talked this morning during qualifying. Chris Kelly and Jordy Fuhrman had a great, very competitive race yesterday. And Kelly, I think, had better pace than Jordy Fuhrman, but he made a couple of very large mistakes that he had to work his way back multiple times, right to with 2 laps to go, going off, spinning the car, coming through Hogback.
Yeah, when we saw that they were basically on the road because both drivers were pretty much getting held up by some slower traffic. Jordy Fuhrman, he would run away for a little bit, get caught up in traffic. Chris Kelly would then catch up behind him. Kelly would get caught up in lap traffic. Jordy Fuhrman would run away, and so they just kept going back and forth with each other. Though Kelly definitely looks like he had was really close to the back bumper, about a car length or 2 away from Fuhrman going down turn number 1. It separates by a little bit here as the rest of the SSM field, but it's pretty much all on their own at the moment. We focus back to the STL. Towards the front side of it, we saw Chuck Hines go by. David Blaine, he's sitting in 3rd overall right now. Chuck Hines actually going to take over that 3rd spot, I believe, as David Blaine's is going to be 4th, 5th is Robert Rowland.
Yeah, Chuck Hines, after that spin, he is on a tear. He is running almost 5 seconds faster than Robert Rowland ahead. The problem is, well, he's still about 7 seconds back from Rowland. So with this pace, he'll be there in a lap and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll take probably about a lap and a half to get by there. As now move Chuck Hines down, or move Chuck Hines up into 2nd in STL as he's starting to reel in Jeremy Butts. He's definitely gotten by Robert Rowland in that 51 and has made short work of David Blaine in that T3 machine.
Yeah, and Jeremy Butts in the red Mazda Miata we just saw come through the NASCAR bend. Coca-Cola liveried Mazda there as they go into left hook.
I'll tell you what, Jeremy Butts is right on the back bumper of Mark Bradley. He was 0.4 of a second faster. That's Mark Bradley in the 106. Jeremy Butts going right up next to him there, pulling right up under the back bumper. I'm wondering if Mark Bradley on that STU machine and that BMW's got a problem.
Yeah, because they both ran about similar lap times, laps around with 2:15.9 for Bradley, a 2:15.5 there for Jeremy Butts. So just about a half a second quicker though. 3rd overall, Chuck Hines set the fastest lap of the race early on with a 2:13.993. He is really on a charge now, trying to catch up to Jeremy Butts with only 3 laps in. This is going to be an interesting battle to see how this unfolds. And Mark Bradley might want to let Jeremy Butts by. I don't think that'll happen. This is a fight for the overall win, but it's not a fight though for a class position.
Not in this one here, but Jeremy's got to do everything he can because here comes Chuck Hines as Chuck's now been able to get through Oak Tree one more time. He is starting to reel in that 69 machine. So again, Jeremy's got to stay as close as he can to Mark Bradley, hopefully use some of that aero and some of that draft. You can see the difference in that STU machine for that STL down Madison Avenue, coming up the top of the roller coaster. This is where Jeremy's going to have to utilize that car and try to get in front of him to throw that little bit of a block so that Mark Bradley can hold off Chuck Hines as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As the rest of the field, David Blaine, we saw come up the hill. Here comes Chuck Hines. down the roller coaster. We'll see what the lap times look like, though. David Blaine, Touring 3 battle, has a racing partner today. Basically, Jennifer Rhodes, she moved up from the Touring 4 yesterday, moved up to Touring 3 today. She's in 8th overall, 2nd in that battle. So, you know, there's still about a couple cars separating that. I think it's about a couple second difference, but still, it's just a fun little, you know, we talked about David Blaine controlling the weekend, taking the automatic win there. He's got a little bit of competition.
All right, real quick, as we've got our time trials drivers coming out for their afternoon session as soon as this race is over, something we're not going to cover here this afternoon, let's make a first call to the grid for that. Attention in the paddock, time trials drivers, time attack drivers. You can start heading to the grid. Your 80-minute session is next. Time attack drivers, group 1, please start heading to the grid.
Tell you what, if we can, Greg, let's go back. Let's find out our SSM battle. There's some of the SSMs there. You can see, I believe that's Jay Bindrum leading that in that blue. That is actually 5th. Then you've got Zach Augenstein, and then another good run here. We talked about it a couple minutes ago, but a very good run for Parker Modem. He's definitely battling with Brett Simonson again this time as they go by and down out of the start-finish line. There's your leaders there. That's Jordy Freerman along with Christopher Kelly. We've seen those two kind of back and forth all weekend long coming through there.
And as Kelly using the draft to get right back up to the back of Fierman under braking, but Fierman able to power through it. Let's jump back on board with Parker Moden as he's now coming down into turn 1, and he has directly in front of him.
Well, you went on board, and all of a sudden he's decided to go down and take a picnic down in the
Parker.
down in the end. So Parker, I'm looking here that he put in here. He finished P4 in the United Karting Championship. He actually lives right next to me, Greg.
Does he?
I didn't realize that until now. He is from Purcellville, Virginia. I'm right there in Round Hills, so we are actually neighbors. So very good to see another driver coming from that area, and good to see him, you know, getting out here. Unfortunately, driving in down into turn 1 is always been the tough.
Yeah,
that it can be.
There's not a lot of grip there, and especially as here, let's take a look at the temperatures here as this day goes on. We're now up to 65. Doesn't seem very hot, but it's about 25 degrees warmer than when they went out for qualifying this morning. And so Parker perhaps not very prepared for the lack of grip as the track starts to get a little greasy.
Yeah, again, you start to look through the, you know, you're starting to race through the driver's mirror ahead of you, or through the window ahead of you. And what ends up happening is you miss your entry and your braking point, especially down there, because it does get a little bit wider down there, and that turn comes up on you quicker than you anticipate it's going to be. And if you're looking through that other window, then that's going to be a little bit tough to get through there.
So if we were looking at our SSM battle, we're going to check back in real quick and give an update on the STL battle. Chuck Hines still taking 2 seconds out of Jeremy Butts every lap. Each time around, he's always 2 seconds ahead. About 2 laps ago, the gap was about 5 to 7 seconds, we'll say, to Jeremy Butts and Chuck Hines. It's now down to about 2 seconds between the two drivers. So this is really starting to become a fun battle as we're just now getting halfway into this race. We still got 5 laps to go. We are 5 laps down, gentlemen.
5 laps down, 5 laps left to go. We just sat there, looked out the window, and there goes, Bob headed to the airport. Just pulled that car down
That's it.
Down to pit lane. Gonna jump out. Bob's headed to the airport. I kind of figured he only had till about 4 o'clock. He's got to get to Raleigh. I'm not sure how far Raleigh is from here.
It's a little bit over an hour. As we've got a car off at turn 1, and we've got local caution.
So it looks like that's the 35. Maybe that could be Steven Rollo. Or maybe that's the 12 or the 30. It could be the 35, but is that the Zach Augustine?
The Augustine
Jay
car,
Bindrum,
I think.
they had to call Jay Bindrum in the 88 spot as well.
Yeah, Bindrum was coming up on them directly ahead, and he went around. I think it was Steven Rollo in the 12 of Augustine.
Let's leave this shot right here because you're going to see Chuck Hines along with Jeremy Butts. Now, Hines has just now gotten in front of Jeremy Butts. That's your overall for STL. You've got Mark Bradley in STU. He's pulled away just a little bit from this battle.
Not much.
But not by much. But
2.5 seconds.
Yeah, Jeremy Butts trying to hold on to stay with Chuck Hines. Last time by, Chuck Hines was 3 seconds faster than Jeremy Butts.
Yeah, and the green Heinz 57 car, I mean, it's got some advantages.
Yep.
Some aero advantages over Jeremy Butts' car. It has a good-sized rear wing. It's got a lot more downforce for some of the longer sweepers. Certainly allows Chuck Hines to carry more speed through places like South Bend that Jeremy Butts cannot do with that wingless Miata.
Yeah, so Jeremy Butts there definitely in I believe it's an SMX prepared car. I think he's going to run this a little bit more this year, trying to maybe get some plans for next year in this car. We'll see what happens. Saw him back out. Has some issues last time out Summit Point when he was in the Spec MX-5. Won one of the STL races. I think had a problem with the second race. Might have won both, but he held on as long as he can. Chuck Hines though got around. We got a car off here right in front of our pit entrance. Say it's a Miata of some sort. Can't tell 100% who it is.
Oh, he's going to try and hit our camera. We might
Yeah, he's going to try to come over to us. We're going to see here where it's going to be. That's going to be the 0. That's going to be knife out to Louis. So again, that K-Hall Motorsports team having a little bit of an issues here. That's part of that organization.
Alto Louis wondering why Bob left him on track.
Yeah,
I thought that maybe Bob was his ride to the airport. All right, let's check back in with our SSM leaders now, heading into left hook here, David, and that is once again Jordy Fuhrman and Chris Kelly.
Gap last time at the line was about half a second between the two. Jordy Fuhrman pretty much been controlling this race. Christopher Kelly's trying to stay kind of just right in the vicinity of him, not let Jordy get too far out here. There's still a long way to go. Well, I say long way. It's 3.27 miles for SSM. It seems like it could be a long time. Chris Kelly though, lap times have been pretty much around the same. So Fuhrman last time ran a 2:21.2. Kelly ran a 2:22.1. Eric Gasm still sits in third though. He's about 3 seconds a lap slower than the top two.
Yeah. Again, we've seen that battle between both of them. That it even happened yesterday, right? Fuhrman would get out and get a big gap, get into some other cars where we'd come up in front of them, and then Christopher Kelly would reel him in. And it wasn't until the very end of the race yesterday, lap 10, I believe, when Christopher Kelly made that mistake down at the bottom of 17, ended up spinning off, which allowed Jordy Fuhrman to pull away and pick up the win yesterday in SSM. Let's see whether or not Christopher Kelly's going to be a little bit more smooth here. Again, 3 laps left to go. Next time by for Mark Bradley, there'll be 2 laps left to go, which again, that will mean these drivers here as well will end up with 2 by that time. I don't believe Mark Bradley has passed them yet to put them a lap down, so that will actually give them that extra lap they're going to need. Looks like more problems for Steve Rollo in that 35 machine.
All right, well, Kelly pulls right up to the back of Jordy Fuhrman as they came out of Hog Pen, got a great run, and now as they come up on some of that slower traffic, they are 3 wide going down into 1. We've got the lapped traffic, and then Fuhrman moves all the way to the inside to defend against the yellow Kelly car there. But Kelly now with just a couple laps to go, I think sensing that perhaps time is running out for him, this is where he gets a little aggressive, and I think this is where he got into trouble yesterday, David.
Yeah, definitely, but I thought, Kelly was maybe going to try an over-under there on his Fuhrman went to the inside, drifted out a little wide. Fuhrman, I think, held pretty much the middle there, coming out of turn 1 into turn 2. So Kelly's definitely going to try another setup this time. He was really close. I mean, he knows that he can, I think Fuhrman's a little weak now, and Kelly might try to strike here at the end of this.
Tell about you guys are keeping an eye on that. I'm keeping an eye out here on the window in this STL battle. Chuck Hines, he went a second slower than Jeremy Butts, and so Jeremy Butts is reeling him in. So while you guys are watching that real quick, I'm watching that STL battle. Jeremy Butts not going away. Should just now be going through turn 1. There's Jeremy Butts there. Chuck Hines just out of the picture there. There's Chuck Hines. There's Jeremy Butts. It was opened up by about 2 seconds further than that, and he's closed it down to a second gap right there.
So, Brian, yesterday, And David, you know, as the race was winding down, we were kind of joking about Chuck Hines pulling over on the back straight, waving people by, and we were wondering if, you know,
Hope he doesn't do it now.
yeah, and you know, wondering if maybe it was an ignition issue or some kind of that the car had shut down, and maybe he needed to recycle the thing because he finished the final lap with speed, and I'm wondering if that's affecting him here as well, just at the wrong time as Jeremy Butts starts to close things down. We'll see him come into our view here now in just a moment. I think there'll be the next two cars to come into the shot on the left-hand side. There you go. There's the green 57 and Jeremy Butts, and it looks like Hines may have held off the challenge there and opened things back up. So again, maybe it's just an intermittent issue with that car.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, because like I said, Jeremy Butts took that gap and closed it down to about a second, and now it looks like it's going to be about a minimum of 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds for that STL.
All right, well, the next time our STU leader comes by, and he's coming down the hill right now, that is Mark Bradley in the 106 BMW. He'll see the white flag.
Down the straight.
And he's carrying a lot more speed than the two Miatas directly ahead of him. We're going to see the white flag now be displayed. There you go, as Mark Bradley, the number 106 BMW out of Wake Forest, North Carolina, sees the waving white flag. He has, well, not surrendered. He's got 3.2 miles remaining here as Chuck Hines now, as he comes across the line. Let's check that gap between our top two STL racers, and Brian, you got it. It's up to 3 full seconds now. All right, let's check back in with SSM and our leaders there, Jordy Furman and Christopher Kelly. Let's try to pick them out.
They could be up near Oak Tree at this point.
And let's check in.
They should be heading up towards that way.
There they are.
Yep.
Christopher Kelly, they're going to need a good run here out of Oak Tree to get up into that draft and maybe try to make a move here. Again, still going to be. They're still going to complete the last lap. So
yeah, I was just saying I wouldn't do it here. I'd wait another lap and try for the very last time.
Well, remember when he tried it last time? It didn't work out. So I would think you'd want to get it done as quickly as possible. He definitely sucks right up to the back bumper of Jordy Furman. Again, here's another product of trying to break that draft. Jordy moves over driver's right, headed up into the top of the roller coaster. Let's see whether or not Christopher Kelly's going to try to make that move. Maybe down here at the bottom. This is where Christopher Kelly seems to be a little bit faster than Jordy Furman right now.
Let's see what happens here. Furman opens that gap just a little bit, coming down the hill as they are coming out of Hogman into her shot. Furman with a good run. I think kind of keeps that gap a little bit open though, but still down long front straightaway. Kelly's going to get that draft off Furman as they start to come under the white flag. So they're going to have their lap to go here, 3.27 miles for that battle. Really good fight so far. They've been pretty much nose to tail this entire race, as the gap was about half a second again to the line.
I'll tell you what, they're going to have, like you said, David, they're going to have one full lap. Coming up on the Kevin Conlon and the Jennifer Romes up in front, as Mark Bradley is just now coming down out of the turn 17, headed down the front stretch. So it looks like Mark Bradley's going to pick up the win here overall, not only in STU, but the overall race win, as he just now goes by the start-finish line. Chuck Hines is coming by the start-finish line now. And gentlemen, when you look in here, you're going to see there's Hines, there's Jeremy Butts. That gap closed all the way down to about a half a second between Chuck Hines and Jeremy Butts for that STL win.
Saying they're going to focus back on our SSM battle again. Furman kind of just slowly opening that gap now to Chris Kelly. Chris going to need a really good run here off of Oak Tree like he did last time. Maybe try to send it up, maybe a little bit deeper in the braking zone. Not too much though. It's where he just kind of sent it off the track at the top of the hill though, as they are about to come back into the shot here into Oak Tree. There they are. Kelly closes the gap just slightly though, but Furman really good speed. He carried there through the middle of the corner. She uses all the runoff as he can before he hits the dirt. And he's going to get that draft there from one of these slower cars in front of him.
Kevin Conlon right there in the 141 machine. So again, he's going to get a little bit of the draft. It's going to depend on how quickly or where Jordy Furman's going to catch the Conlon machine. That's going to allow Christopher Kelly to move up even closer as they get to the top of the hill and down through the bottom of the roller coaster. I tell you what, they're closing in on that Kevin Collins machine. I think Collins going to be able to get through the corner just a little bit quicker than Jordy Furman.
And that's probably the worst thing that Furman wants, because they're probably going to get bottled up behind him. And you can see right now, as the Kelly car pulls right up to the back, if he can get the run that he's been getting all race long, he may have a bit of an advantage. It's hard to out-drag race somebody here to the start-finish line, but Chris Kelly's going to try as they come to the line.
So here they go, checker flag in the air for this SSM race, as it looks like it's going to be Jordy Furman doubling up this weekend. Will sweep the weekend, and SSM take win in race number 2. Christopher Kelly sits in second, just about 2/10 of a second behind. And Arif Kazim should be coming across the line here to round out the podium, as I believe he is just about to come across, coming down the front straightaway right in front of us right now. There he is. He will take the bottom step of the podium, and then we're waiting for some more. Brett Simonson is going to be sitting in 4th. There he is, along with Miranda Price. Really good run in 5th. Zach Augustine had I think possibly an issue there that he had. He's going to be in 6th. So again, another good race from Augustine.
Yep. As we look, I think that should be everybody that has come by has taken the checker flag just based off of where Mark Bradley finished. So let's give a little bit of a recap here. STU and your overall winner, Mark Bradley in the 106. Max King, the